Every time Israel is attacked, you hear about the Iron Dome, the impenetrable shield. It's basically an air defense system. It ensures that projectiles do not hit Israeli targets. Instead, they're blown up in the sky. After the attack in April, everyone praised the Iron Dome. But this time, there is no such celebration. Some Iranian users are in fact mocking it. The videos make one thing clear. A lot of Iranian missiles broke through the air defenses. They managed to hit Israeli soil. They couldn't damage much, except for the reputation of the Iron Dome. But Iran showed that Israel's airspace can be breached. So how did they do it? What changed from the last time? Well, first, some background. Israel has a multi-layer air defense system. The first is obviously the Iron Dome. It shoots down rockets and small projectiles. Its range is 4 to 70 kilometers. That's the Iron Dome, the first layer. The second layer is called David Sling. It can take out long-range rockets and cruise missiles. The range is up to 300 kilometers. And finally, you have the Arrow system, Arrow 1 and 2. These take out medium and long-range ballistic missiles and range up to 2,400 kilometers. In April, the Iron Dome did the heavy lifting, but this time it was the other systems. Iran says 90% of their projectiles hit the target. Israel says the majority was shot down. As expected, two different versions from two different sides, but pictures do not lie. There is clearly more physical damage this time around. The question is, how did it happen? Because of three main reasons. First, the intensity of the attack. The US government says this one was twice as big as the last one.
Certainly, this was a significant attack, probably about twice the size in terms of scope of what we saw earlier. But again, we're still assessing the outcomes of this.
It's simple logic. If you fire more missiles, you have more chances of hitting the target. That's what happened here. Some of the projectiles will sneak through. Which brings us to reason number two, the type of projectiles. In April, Iran fired mostly rockets and drones. These are not rapid flyers. They take their time to reach the target. The drones, for example, took 9 hours to fly from Iran to Israel, 9 hours. So the Iron Dome made short work of it. But this time, Iran stepped up. They fired 180 ballistic missiles. Now, these are lethal weapons. First, they're fired up to the Earth's atmosphere, sometimes even beyond the Earth's atmosphere. There, the payload separates from the rocket, and finally, it plunges towards its target, a bit like throwing a stone up in the air. Imagine the speed and the force created by such a fall. It makes intercepting them very difficult. Iran used two versions of these ballistic missiles, the medium-range Shahab-3 and the hypersonic Fateh-1. Hypersonic missiles can travel 5 times faster than sound. That's 6,100 kilometers per hour. Such missiles can reach Israel in 12 minutes. Do you see the difference? 9 hours in April, 12 minutes yesterday. So the speed made interception difficult. Finally, reason number three, the lack of warnings. In April, Iran informed the West days in advance. So they had time to prepare their defense. And this time, there were no warnings. The US and Israel had no clue until hours before the attack. So Iran had the element of surprise, which is why they had more success than the last time. As a strategy, it makes sense because air defense is expensive business. One Arrow missile that Israel uses, one Arrow missile costs $3.5 million. One David Sling costs $1 million. But Iran's missiles are much cheaper, just $100,000 per shot. So the math works out in Iran's favor. It makes sense to exhaust Israel's defenses. But also remember, Israel has American financial support. Washington will help them restock. Nonetheless, yesterday's attack made a couple of things quite clear. One, Israel's defenses are not impenetrable. With the right weapons and tactics, you can hit them. And secondly, Iran has learned from its last attack, hence the decision to ditch the slow drones and use ballistic missiles. And they have more in stock. Iran is said to have 3,000 ballistic missiles. Only a fraction was unleashed on Israel yesterday. In many conflicts, it may be enough to establish deterrence, but here it may trigger more attacks.
First Post decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on First Post.